Why do I attract narcissists? What is it that makes some people a magnet for narcissists? In this video, I describe what kind of people attract narcissists, and why narcissists are attracted to them. The empath. People who are above average empathetic will attract narcissists. Because they are compassionate, they feed the narcissist. What is empathy? Wikipedia gives the following description of empathy. Empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. That is, the capacity to place oneself in another's position. Definitions of empathy encompass a broad range of social, cognitive, and emotional processes primarily concerned with understanding others and others' emotions in particular. Types of empathy include cognitive empathy, emotional or affective empathy, somatic empathy, and spiritual empathy. We call someone with above-average empathy an empath. An empath experiences the feelings of others as their own. In a relationship, they often lose themselves and they are quickly touched by the injustice in the world. Why do empaths attract narcissists? Empathetic people who are unfamiliar with narcissistic personality disorder are at very high risk of getting caught up in a web of narcissistic abuse. Narcissists themselves despise empathy and certainly do not have it towards others. But when an empathetic person effaces themselves from them, they are their prey. And the empath who has no idea what he or she has gotten into will increasingly do his or her best for the narcissist. For example, they will think that they are not giving the narcissist enough love. Then they show their love for the narcissist even more. But for a narcissist, it is natural to take, but not to give. Only when an empath is mentally burned out, they will get out of such a toxic relationship. Then they feel guilty about it too. The savior. Saviors see pathetic people everywhere and they feel they need to rescue them. A noble pursuit in itself. But because they want to save everyone, they will easily attract narcissists. Saviors are empathetic, which means there is overlap with the empaths. Only the savior have lost sight of reality even more. As a result, they often bring themselves into trouble. Why does the savior attract narcissists? When a savior meets someone who soon tells a pathetic story, they will want to help that person. For example, they often let their partner move in with them way too early. Since narcissists like to play the victim role, they trigger the savior. So always be wary when a potential partner starts telling sad stories right from the start. Narcissists like to tell their new victim how mean their previous partner was to them. The savior will believe that and want to help them. And that makes them extremely attractive to narcissists. People with ADHD. Another group of people who attract narcissists are people with ADHD. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It is a name for a cluster of symptoms derived from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Adult people with ADHD often unconsciously make wrong choices. This mainly has to do with wanting to please. Wanting to do well. Not wanting to fail. And above all, wanting to be just like everyone else. People with ADHD are especially sensitive to someone who makes them feel like they're totally fantastic. They will therefore try even harder to do even better. Because good is never enough for someone with ADHD. Why do people with ADHD attract narcissists? For a narcissist, they are very easy to manipulate. After all, they do everything just to please, just to belong, just to be liked. And that makes people with ADHD attracting narcissists. ADHD expert Maine DeGroot has written an extensive guest blog on our website about ADHD and narcissism. A link to it can be found in the description of this video. Overly forgiving people. There are people who forgive everything. They give new opportunities over and over again. Like the people from the previous categories, they are actually way too good for this world. Why do overly forgiving people attract narcissists? Because overly forgiving people keep giving everyone a second chance, they are a magnet for narcissists. By forgiving again and again, they send the signal to the narcissist that she can get away with anything. People with HSP. As you've probably seen, There's a lot of overlap between the types that attract narcissists. This certainly applies to people who are highly sensitive, HSP. HSP stands for highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive people are empathetic. But not everyone who is empathetic has HSP. Someone with HSP is more than average sensitive to the atmosphere that hangs somewhere. They often feel uncomfortable in crowded places. That's because they get overstimulated there. Why do people with HSP attract narcissists? Where a narcissist is mainly concerned with himself. A highly sensitive person is mainly concerned with others. In fact, HSPs and narcissists complement each other perfectly. Someone with HSP wants the other person to be well. That makes them attractive for narcissists. With a narcissist, everything revolves around the narcissist himself. So what could be better for a narcissist than someone who completely effaces themselves? Like narcissists, highly sensitive people have often grown up in dysfunctional families. As a result, there was a lack of safety and security during their youth. As a result, HSPs and narcissists often develop a relationship. And that brings us to the next category of people who attract narcissists. Children of a narcissistic parent. Children of whom one or both parents have a narcissistic personality disorder will attract narcissists later in life. They also run a high risk of having a relationship with a narcissist. This is partly because they have come to regard narcissistic behavior as normal. And if you are used to it, the alarm bells will not ring when you meet a toxic person. As a child, you are dependent on your parents. And if one or both parents is narcissistic, you will be trained to nurture the narcissist to survive. Children who grow up in a narcissistic family usually develop into either narcissists or codependents. The lessons the later narcissist picks up is that by being mean and manipulating you get what you want. While the later codependent learns that you only get love when you efface yourself. Why do children of a narcissistic parent attract narcissists? Obviously, the child who develops into codependent is the most attractive to narcissists. Because codependents efface themselves in a relationship, the narcissist will be able to sustain the abuse for a long time. Also watch the video Codependency and Narcissism. Who are narcissists attracted to? Previous examples show that narcissists are attracted to people who cannot set clear boundaries. People who have trouble standing up for themselves are a magnet for narcissists. If you do not attach consequences to the destructive behavior of the narcissist, you are very attractive to them. A narcissist sees this as permission for more narcissistic abuse. Obviously, a relationship with a narcissist is extremely destructive. Everything should revolve around the narcissist. The needs of the other don't count. A perfect victim for the narcissist is therefore someone who effaces himself and allows the abuse. But one day the limit will be reached. The relationship then ends with a lot of misery. Narcissists will never admit their own role in it and portray the victim as the perpetrator. In some cases, they will stalk their ex or even use violence. But in the most favorable case for the ex, they soon have a new partner. To the outside world, they seem to have finally found the right one. But this is just the next victim. Choose for yourself. The lesson we can learn from this knowledge is that you need to think more about yourself in order to stop attracting narcissists. On our website, you can find tools in which you learn this. There is also a free ebook with 10 tips how to recover from narcissistic abuse. A link can be found in the description of this video. So, do you also recognize yourself in the types that attract narcissists? Let us know in a comment. Knowledge is power. Subscribe also on this YouTube channel for more information about narcissistic abuse and the recovery process. Also click on the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching, and I see you in our next video.